Alrighty guys, we're back for some Fancy Pants Mardu, and this is a March of the Machine, the Aftermath Standard Brew. We're gonna go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but first things first, for anyone who may not know, I'm Red Cat and I play aggro decks and any decks with a red in them as well, so I hope that sounds fun to ya. Also, we do got that Discord link as well as that relatively new Patreon link down in the description if you're interested in joining either of those up. Okay, what do we got in the build here? It looks like a vampire build, and you could totally call it a vampire build if you wanted to, but I actually based it around nobles. So we got Queen Kayla, or yeah, Kayla, a bin-Kroog. So this is a 3 mana, 2/3 legendary creature, human, noble. For 4 mana, you can tap this, discard all the cards in your hand, then draw that many cards. You may choose an artifact or creature card with mana value 1. You discard it this way. Then do the same for an artifact or creature card with mana value 2 and 3. And then return those cards to the battlefield, activate only as a sorcery. We got a bunch of 3-drops that are going to be great to hit with Queen Kayla, but we also have a good 2-drops and solid 1-drops too. So we'll go over those in just a second. We got Florian in here as a 2 of. It's a 3 mana, 3/3 first strike, Vampire Noble. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the total amount of life your opponents lost this turn. Exile one of those cards, and put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. You may play the exiled card this turn. Florian is like really solid, dude. I guess the biggest threat to poor old Florian here is being picked up by like a lightning strike, since it is only a 3/3, but you know, that first strike is really good too. So I have a single squee in here, you know, it's a nobleman's gathering, huh? So Squee Dubious Monarch is a 3 mana 2/2 with haste, and you guys know Squee at this point, but it's a goblin noble. So that's why I made the cut. Also going wide is pretty important, but also since we're sending stuff to the grave with like Queen and stuff, then that bottom ability where you can bring Squee back for 3 and a red by exiling 4 other cards from your graveyard actually might be a little bit easier to do with the Queen Kayla. So I think it'll be interesting. I don't, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm giggling because the noble theme is a little silly to me, but it's gonna be fun, huh? More nobles, man. Ayara is a 3 mana 3/3 elf noble. I should have said a gathering of noblemen and noblewomen, huh? So you can tap this down, sacrifice another creature or artifact. Ayara, Widow of the Realm, deals X damage to target opponent or battle, and you gain X life, where X is the sacrifice permanent's mana value. Happens to be pretty solid, dude. For the bottom ability, it's 5 and a red Phyrexian mana, so it could be 5, pay 2. You transform this into a Furnace Queen, so it's a 4/4 Phyrexian Elf Noble, which, you know, having the Noble on there, that's important still. At the beginning of combat on your turn, return up to 1 target artifact or creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step. So again, it's like little things that we can bring stuff back from the grave. Really works with the Queen Kayla, doesn't it? So got a couple of Markov Barons here in the 3-drop spot as well. It is also a Vampire Noble. Nice. So 3 mana 2/2, but it has Convoke, so our creatures can help us cast it. Has Lifelink, which is going to be important. Other vampires you control get +1/+1, which could be important. Since we have so many vampires actually packed into this noble list. It has Madness for 2 and a black. So if you discard this card, discard it into exile. When you do, cast it for its Madness cost or put it into your graveyard. So if you end up discarding this with Queen, you can like bring back a different 3-drop, like a Florian or something, right? Bring back a 2-drop, potentially bring back a 1-drop as well, and then convoke out the Markov Baron that got exiled. So that could be really cool as well. A neat little synergy, which I think should work exactly as I just described it. So we have Edgar here in the 4-drop spots. Edgar, Charmed Groom, all 4 of them. I think it's a ridiculously underplayed Orzhov beast of a card. It's a 4 mana 4/4. Other vampires you control get +1/+1. When Edgar, Charmed Groom dies, return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control as Edgar, Markov's Coffin. It's a legendary artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, you create a 1/1 white and black vampire creature token with lifelink and put a bloodline counter on Edgar Markov's Coffin. Then, if there are 3 or more bloodline counters on it, remove those counters and transform it. And transforms obviously back into Edgar. So opting for all four of them, I think it's just going to be terrific to see in pretty much every game, right? But it really pairs beautifully with the Ayara because you can always use the Ayara ability on the Edgar and, you know, deal 4 damage, gain 4 life, and then it comes back as the Coffin. And then you could do the exact same thing with the Coffin if you really wanted to. So it could be a ton of extra damage at that point too. At the same time, you could just keep the Coffin on the board, wait for Edgar to flip again, and then do that all over again. There's also just going to be like other moments where you use the AR's ability on just like a smaller creature too. But yeah, let's go back to the 2 drops or back to the front of the build before we go over the top end, huh? So we got 4 Vampire Socialites, which is a Vampire Noble. It's a 2-mana 2/2 with Menace. When Socialite enters the battlefield, if an opponent lost life this turn, you put a +1/+1 counter on each other vampire you control. And then as long as an opponent lost life this turn, each other vampire you control enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. Not bad, guys, but realistically, I mean, there are a lot of vampires packed in, don't get me wrong. We're really looking at it because it also doubles as a noble. And the reason I keep bringing that up is because I think the best land in the deck is hopefully going to be Secluded Courtyard, and we're going to do our dandiest to actually play Courtyard on Noble and not on Vampire. But there are going to be plenty of moments where you actually play Courtyard and call Vampire because of our 1-drops too. So now Bloodtithe Harvester had to make the list. Unfortunately, not a Noble, but very powerful Vampire. It would be silly not to play with this, you know? Got a couple go for the throats because removal is kind of important and I never really play with enough. Also, Harvester doubles as removal if we really need it, which we're going to need it, don't get me wrong, but yeah. In the honorable mentions, I didn't have too much outside of the Fateful Absence. So it's just a reminder that you could totally play with your removal of choice, but if it is going into a different mana color, like Fateful Absence, then it might mess with the mana base that I thought about for a little bit. There are going to be moments too where you actually want to target your own creatures with the destroy ability, like instead of having the opponent exile or something. And so if you target your own creatures with a Fateful Absence, then at least you get a clue token too, but it's not going to happen too often. So I just opted for the go for the throat instead. Anyways, guys, the 1-drops, we got all 4 Voldaren Epicures, also not a noble. Makes me sad. And the Ichor Drinker making another appearance here. It's a 1-mana 1/1 with lifelink, which is good. It's a Phyrexian vampire, but look, he kind of has like a suit on, so like, you know, it's kind of fancy pants. For 1 black mana, exile Ichor Drinker from your graveyard, incubate 2, activate only as a sorcery. Not half bad, guys, especially when we're sending stuff to our grave anyways. Yeah, I like it. I like having the 8 1-drops here, especially to see if we can actually pull off the Queen Kayla, and hitting a 1, 2, and a 3 off of it is going to be sweet. If we can pull it off, right? So at the very top end, we have a couple Invasion of Fiora here. It's a 6-mana Battle Siege with 4 defense counters on it, and when it enters the battlefield, you choose one or both. So you can either destroy all legendary creatures and or destroy all non-legendary creatures. In a deck like this that actually runs a ton of legendaries, this could potentially be like a massive one-sided board wipe, which would be really cool. But check out that flip side, guys. It is a human noble. It's a 3/6 human noble with Menace, Death Touch. Let's see, how do we pronounce that? Marquesa? Marquesa, maybe, right? Whenever Marquesa attacks, remove all counters from up to one target permanent. Doesn't say other there. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you haven't been dealt damage since your last turn, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Not half bad, guys. There's not too much in here where we actually care about like removing counters, but you never know. Maybe there's like a moment where we actually want the Edgar's Coffin to stick around a little longer over the Edgar Charmed Groom, and so we can like remove the bloodline counters from that, but I don't know how often we're actually going to do that. So also rocking an Olivia Crimson Bride here on the top end. Again, yeah, since we're sending stuff to the grave or potentially like sacrificing stuff too off of the Ayara, having another way to bring stuff back is sweet. Kind of sort of an underplayed card as well. Just 6 mana, a 3/4, Flying Haste. When it attacks, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, tapped and attacking. It's a great way to wrap up games, man. It gains when you don't control a legendary vampire, exile this creature. And a bunch of different legendary vampires in here from Edgar and a Florian as well, right? So Wait, where are the other? I guess that's it. I guess that's all the legendary vampires. I thought I had a little more packed in, but no. It's Florian and Edgar are our legendary vampires. Anyways, guys, yeah, the mana base I thought about for quite some time. I think we'll be fine, especially with the courtyards, being able to call either noble or vampire, and it's probably going to be... It depends when you see the courtyard. If you see the courtyard after 3, you're probably calling noble. If you see courtyard and it's one of your only mana before 3, you're probably calling vampire, right? And it also depends what's in your hand too, because if you have like 3 socialites in hand, you might as well call noble so that way you can start setting up for your 3-drop nobles as well. But it's really going to depend on the scenario. So rocking a Voldaren Estate for those vampires, huh? Got a single Plaza of Heroes for all the legendaries packed in as well. And yeah, like I said, the rest of the mana base I thought about for a bit, but realistically, we're just opting for a lot of early game mana. So the Pain Land, unfortunately, the Blackcleave Cliffs is going to be great. The Haunted Ridge, we got Crucible, Abandoned Mire, and a Seat of the Empire packed in here as well, leaning a little bit towards the black mana because that is what the deck is leaning towards. No other honorable mentions, guys, but this one took me a second to actually go over. Just a fun little thematic deck. I actually think it'll do a thing here and there. I mean, obviously, right? We're making a video on it, so let's go ahead, take it into some ranked, and see how we do. Fancy pants, Mardu. Right into that first game. You guys have been telling me that you've been enjoying the thematic decks, so I thought we'd put another one together here. Oh, no black source. See, this is where like Secluded Courtyard would be insane, dude. Although the Ayara being noble, I guess that doesn't necessarily help us. Yeah, no, we have to mulligan that. We can't successfully keep that. Voldaren Estate, see, that would have been good too. Just so that way we could have played out some of those others. I guess Invasion of Fiora is very far away at this point with only 2 land in our opener. Opponent is making the climb to diamond. Oh, with soldiers. Oh boy. Oh boy. I'm gonna go Drinker over Epicure. Ow. Wait, why did I do that instead of the swamp? I don't know what I was thinking there, honestly, guys. I wasn't thinking. It's a little silly, man. No, we would have went Voldaren Estate if we wanted to play Epicure, but we didn't want to take the damage for the Drinker. It's fine. It is what it is, man. Florian's great against creature matches, so... Actually gonna swing in to get that life gain back, and maybe they just play like a Resolute Reinforcements. Also, if the Drinker dies, then we have that Incubate too. We're actually gonna go back down to 19 to play the Epicure. Because against soldiers, they probably don't have board wipes, and just getting some extra creatures down while we can is pretty good. Mana off the top would be great. We should be rocking 25 total. Yeah, 25 total land. I totally forgot to go over it, though, so I'm not 100% certain. I went over the mana base. I just forgot to go over how much we actually have in here, so it should be 25, hopefully. It might even be 26, but no, I don't think so. That's funny, guys. I always bring that up. I gotta go over that more. All right, no way to buff the soldier board state, and we are going to search for that mana this turn. Ditch the Edgar, because we're still 2 mana away from the Edgars anyways. Like, they can be pretty decent to have 2 of them, but wow. Another Drinker. You know what? I'm going for the swing. Let's do this. At that point, I should have used the Estate. Back up to 21. I should have used the Estate for the blood token and then the swamp for the Drinker, but we didn't know what we were going to draw, so keeping the Estate open for the Epicure made more sense. Another Resolute Reinforcements. The Battle of 1/1s. Let's go. Any mana off the top would be huge, man. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Harbin. Dude, we're gonna get wrecked. Oh no. A Harvester. Actually, that would have been great last turn. So they're gonna be flying in regardless, right? So I guess that's that. Go back up to 12, but then they have it. Darn. Darn, guys. Well, I didn't even get to play a noble this game. How could you, opponent? And we had to mulligan too, huh? And I think that was pretty much like a forced mulligan. Like if we would have kept that hand, that would have just been a guaranteed loss. Woo, there's a veteran. Hey, good game, opponent. Good game, buddy. Soldier's still looking very scary, but you know what? You know what? I think we had a chance. Obviously, we would have had to see some mana to have a chance, but somewhere in there was probably a small little sliver of hope. Let me just double check real quick so I'm not blabbering on about it for the whole video here. Fancy Pants Mardu, we have 25 total land. Okay, well, I mean, at that point, I guess it is what it is. Only seeing the 2. One of those things, one of those Magic the Gathering things, but see if we can get right into the next game. Yeah, with all the lifelink on that board, I don't know. If it wasn't the Harbin and it was the Veteran instead, I mean, that still would have been pretty bad. There's 4 mana. This is good. This is good. If we don't want to take damage from the Forge, we can call Vampire on Courtyard successfully. But then we won't have double black if we see Ayara, so we might want to call Noble on that. Hey, get out of my hand, opponent. No, one of my Harvesters. You jerk. There we go. We found a mountain. If we don't want to take damage. Lantern Bearer. Nice. Another Battlefield Forge. Uh-oh, guys. Uh-oh. Let's not take damage because this might be a tempo build from the opponent. Yeah, this is a hand, huh? We'll complete the collection and draw the 4th Battlefield Forge next turn. We could. Oh! Yeah, it's gonna be ninjutsu. Uh-oh, Secluded Courtyard. Guys, this is really bad. Holy cow. Wow. Vampire... No, Noble. Noble. We have all the mana we need. At this point, they might even just trade here. They know it's in hand, except they don't know we drew 2 land here. If we take the damage, we let them ninjutsu a little bit, but we might be able to outpace. They know we're playing the Florian's the thing. And that... I can't think of a 1 mana card that can counter a creature, so, you know. If Florian was anything other than a creature, we'd have to consider, like, Spell Pierce being dropped. Even so, we'd probably still play into it. How cool is that, calling Noble on Courtyard? Oh, removal is great, and they're keeping their mana open. Probably use the blood token. See what we see. I feel like seeing something before combat could be good in a deck like this. Okay, we can successfully play Forge. Actually, maybe we full swing and just thin out the deck by grabbing a land. They are going to trade with the Silver Fur. That's a good trade for us. And they're actually going to chump there too. We could go for the throat on the Silver Fur, but I think that's a good trade. See, the thing is, they don't know we have another Harvester now. Okay, so I will get the other Forge down. Play the Harvester and see if a Make Disappear picks it up. And a Make Disappear out of their hand might mean the go for the throat will land on an important creature. And Florian might actually help us just find more off the top too. So this might actually end up working out, guys. Whoa, Urborg Scavengers. Okay. Okay, interesting. Markov Baron, nice. So we probably... There's actually a few things we can do here. Since this has first strike, we can start with the swing and see what we see off the top. As much as I'd like to get an extra damage through with the Baron, we might see something better off the top that we want to see. So let's do this. Or that we want to play. Okay. Another Bloodtithe Harvester is totally fine. Lay that down. That is a noble, so... I will actually call Vampire on the second courtyard, just in case. And we might as well just play this. Do I want to discard it, tap down Harvester, and play it that way? I guess we could. It filters out, and then we use the Madness. We cast it. That's pretty good, huh? Filtering out with the blood token that way. Ayara, nice. That could be good. Sheoldred, okay. Good thing we kept the go for the throat, huh? Swinging with 4. Okay, it's a 4/4. Unfortunately, they're not getting any abilities here for their scavengers, so no blocks. I'd say first thing we do is take care of this Sheoldred. There we go. Oh, we don't have double block. Yeah, we don't have double black for Ayara here now. That's a shame. That's a shame. It is because I called Vampire on this instead of Noble, guys. Well, that's something to get used to say the least, huh? I'm gonna keep that back to discard, and we're gonna go for a full swing. Over, like, seeing something with the Florian, which could be a land, by the way, so... Down to 2. Back up to 17. Woo! We can only play it this turn, right? So we might as well grab a land. There's the 4th Battlefield Forge if we want to complete the set, but now we should grab the Caves. It's funny, dude. Oh, man. It's looking good, but technically this could go either way, because we don't entirely know what the opponent's playing over there. It looks like Dimir Tempo, with ninjas. Yeah, GG opponent. Dimir Tempo with ninjas, but then they had the Urborg Scavengers, so like something was happening here. I'm not 100% sure what was happening. I would love to see the rest of the opponent's deck just to figure that out, but GG, our deck kind of sort of did a thing. Just with the vampire side of things. Vampires can totally get there. I mean, the Baron is kind of ridiculous. Only having it in here as a 2-of is silly. Opponent, what you bringing to the table, buddy? Double black for Ayara. The mana we need for our queen. Yes. This is solid, dude. This is very solid. Best hand of the evening, probably. Opponent goes first, unfortunately, but like... Oh, no cut down. But yeah, we can't complain too much about this. Plaza of Heroes helps us cast both of these too, if we need to. Oh. I guess I'll ditch the Drinker, since... Yeah. As much as I'd like to keep a 1-drop in hand for the Queen. Oh. I mean, this works. Keep the 1-drop, go for the... I guess they'll probably trade. I'll do that first, see what they do. So maybe they'll just take the 1. Like, it's not a bad trade. We'll just activate one of these for the turn. Wait a minute, I could have activated both if I wanted Banded Mire. Why do I keep doing this, guys? What am I doing, man? I apologize. We should have played Abandoned Mire. We look at this, like, utility land. Oh, Trespasser taking the other one, too. That's a shame. There's our 2-drop. Dude. Dude, we have a 1, 2, and a 3. Opponent, please, just not spot removal. Please. Opponent, just this one time in Magic the Gathering, can it not be spot removal? This will be so cool, man. No! My soul! So if I would have played... if I would have played Ayara... Actually, if I played it any slower, like, there's just a chance that they find even more removal off the top anyways, so... Well, I'm sad. A 1 and a 2 with Ayara. Playing like... Okay. This is fine. This is totally fine. Because now if they go... I mean, we're not going to get locked down by Liliana, or a second Liliana for that matter, so... Dreams of Steel and Oil, artifact or creature card. Harvester's out of here, dude. Honest deck looks like a discard build. Through and through, right? Because they have the Virus Beetle as well. Removal for Ayara, swing with Trespasser, then plus with Liliana. The Epicure's out of hand. Heavily leaning towards the opponent now, guys. Even if I would have played it out a little bit better and made sure I had the double incubators with the Abandoned Mire. I mean, discard a card. Yep. And then I wonder if they do anything with the braids here. They could totally... I think they'd like to keep that Liliana, though. But if they wanted to draw something new... Nothing. Florian is a good draw. Blockers for days for the Ayara, unfortunately. I apologize for that popping sound in the background, guys. If the mic picked it up, I should apologize. Target opponent or battle, so I can't hit the Liliana. So if we power up the incubator, they still have just great blocks, don't they? All right. We'll see what they trade out here, because that Liliana is going to be a problem regardless. If they trade with one of these for the turn, they're going to keep the braids around. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Then we'll go Florian, so that way, like, the -2, we can actually ditch the Epicure. Even so, like, we're in some serious trouble here, man. Gonna blitz in the underdog and then use the underdog for the braids, I'm assuming. We could always sacrifice the Epicure, but I guess that's what they want to do here. While it is probably heavily leaning towards the opponent, the Florian's first strike is so good here. So yeah, they're just going to use the braids ability. Yep, that's good. That's pretty good, because it restocks their hand. They're drawing 2 here, decline. And they couldn't attack into the first strike successfully, so... Land, we could trade it out, but land also might not be a bad thing. If we trade it out, whatever we get, hopefully we can play, because they'll just have us discard it. So maybe we start with a swing. See what we see on the Florian. As much as I usually like to... Okay. More land, but it's probably barren. That way we can get more creatures onto the board. And that's 3. So I think I am going to play this out as land. That way we can go Markov Baron and transform the Phyrexian Incubator. Gotta kind of keep stuff out of our hand, and if I traded out that swamp with the blood token, there's a possibility that we see something on the top end that we couldn't play for the turn. If we would have done it beforehand too. Okay, there's the first go for the throw, actually. Why does it feel like they had a lot of removal, but they actually haven't? It's just that Liliana that was brutal, taking our queen out of the equation, man. That would have been so cool. A corrupt court official. Hey! They're bringing fancy pants to the table too. Nice. Discards a card. Okay. They probably go Braids and they just ditch the Corrupt Court Official, right? Mm-hmm. We are going to decline and then activate the Incubator. Vampire Socialite. Cool, but is it enough? No. Not when they have the 3/3 here. No real way to get damage through, except for the Menace on this. So I guess now it is the turn to see what we see, because we could see an Edgar, which would be a really good draw. Or land. We play it so that way we don't discard it. We have 6. I think there's a small chance. I do. I think there's a small chance. Could see some of our top end, which could be an absolute game changer. Our one of Olivia would be so good, dude. I don't even know what we'd bring back at that point. Maybe the Florian. The Ayara could be really good to bring back too. Yeah, underdog pairing with Braids. They're not even going to swing here. They want to make sure they get that sacrifice. That makes sense to me. We're going to decline. We don't want to get down to 1 creature because then at some point, like, that Liliana could come down. Or the second one. Okay. Uh-oh, more land, guys. Uh-oh. Well, we only have a couple more turns of drawing nothing before it's definitely the opponent's, right? So we don't mind seeing mana in this deck, but when we run out of cards, I mean, up against a discard deck, you're going to run out of cards pretty fast, huh? This early Dreams of Steel and Oil was really good, taking out that Harvester. That was really good. And there's the second Liliana. So that's one of the reasons why we didn't sacrifice last turn. To make sure that we can actually keep, like, Baron down. Alright, guys. We're in trouble, bro. They can even power up Foundry. If they're trying to get damage through, that might be... No, it's just Underdog again. Underdog swing, even. Because they can ditch the Liliana to the Braids, right? Right? Yeah, or Planeswalker. So swing, it's either we trade or take the 3, and then they ditch the Liliana to the Braids. Ow. I want to keep the Markov Baron around for just a little bit longer here. Come on, guys. No! Aw, man. Alright, I'm going to play it out. The opponent is almost there, so... always feel free to skip ahead to the next match, guys. We have chapters at the bottom. They've had to cut down for that. I mean, we're letting them draw so much off the Braids that it was going to happen eventually. Oh, they actually have lethal on the board. Bring that back, power up Foundry. For the 2. And then swing for 8. Or they could swing for 6 and then just use the Braids ability. That also works, which looks like that's what they're going to be doing here. Playing it all out. Good game, opponent. We don't get to see discard too often, and that looks like a pretty solid discard deck. Doesn't it? Like, it looks decent, man. Of course, Braids is one of those, like, underplayed creatures. Braids is, like, really good in a deck that can successfully, like, sacrifice things like the Underdog. After we got past that, like, mid-game hump, then it was like... it was over. Alright, guys. We are 33 minutes in, 34 minutes in. I'm thinking we're going to get, like, one more long game in. We're going to end on a high note. We're going to have a great time with our fancy pants. Maybe even pull off the queen. Maybe. I know one thing for sure. I got to make sure I'm playing my mana outright because I don't know why I've been messing up. All Vampire. Could call Noble. We could go Painland for the Harvester. Call Noble. Now we probably call Vampire based on this hand, right? Wow, we go first here. If we don't call Noble and we see an Ayara, then we don't have double black as of right now. Gonna start with the Caves. Depends what we draw. If we see Ayara off the top, we might call Noble. Yeah, we should just call Vampire, take less damage, right? Right, yeah. Vampire. Oh, we'll see if we get punished. Next turn by drawing Ayara or something, right? The double black in the Ayara is pretty greedy, but overall, I think the mana is totally fine for a double black 3-drop. Usually, it's just going to be some tough decisions like this turn. Did we want to take an extra damage or Invasion of Gabakhan? What do they want to hit here, dude? The Baron? Because we have 2 Socialites, so like that's still going to be a thing next turn. For extra counters on the Harvester at least. It depends. Probably the Baron. Is what I would go for. Yep. Okay, Queen! Alright. Queen Kayla is in the hand. We could play it. We could if we see mana off the top. Now we only have a couple 2-drops though is the problem. You know what? I am gonna play the Queen. A small chance that it survives a couple turns and we actually draw like a 1 and a 3 at some point too. Like, I don't mind that. Also, because we didn't call Noble, we're now taking the extra pain the pain damage here. Oh, found removal for it. Okay. Well, it is what it is, I guess. There we go, Florian. So that's something to note, guys. Yeah. If I would have just called Noble on this, we would have taken the exact same amount of damage, only we'd have the double black if we did see an Ayara off the top. So, you know, that's something that would come with practice with the build. I think for the turn... No, I should spend all the mana possible, even though... Yeah, Florian wasn't... Oh! I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, we were going to play the Vampire Socialite. If I would have played Florian and then swung with Harvester, we could have found a land off the top from the Florian. That's my bad, because I was swinging... My initial thought was Socialite, but then I immediately changed my mind after the swing. Bro! Seal from existence, okay. Well, at this point... Yeah, so we could have found the land last turn, so that's a shame, guys. Hopefully I don't get punished for that. And we do have the blood token available. Do we want to do it this turn to see if we find a land for the turn? I guess. Invasion of Fiora is like really good, but we're 3 mana away from it, man. Alright, that's fine. That's not bad. Vampire Socialite has Menace. This looks like Selesnya humans, but the double seal from existence, it might literally just be a 2 of and then like 4 brutal cathars or something. So like Selesnya humans, and then they opted for more removal, right? And maybe it was the decision between seal from existence or like ossification for the build too. So plus the ward 3 on this is just like really good. After the ban of Invoke Despair, the ward 3 on enchantments is super solid. 3 mana. Is this gonna be the Cathar? See, the problem is they can see the go for the throat in our hand. So if they do like Cathar on our Harvester, then we go for the throat, get Harvester back, get a blood token, and it's just it's a mess. Clay Champion is a problem, dude. That's a 5/5 just brick wall that we have no way of getting around right now, because Go for the Throat doesn't hit Clay Champion. And a Homestead Courage. This is Selesnya counters, guys. Okay. That has Vigilance too, so they're going to flip that Gabakhan soon enough. Another Socialite off the top. With 25 total land in here, you'd think we'd be able to see it just a little bit more. Dealing damage to the opponent is not looking great for the turn. If we go Baron for 5, then at least Harvester will be at 5, but you know what? I'm gonna do that. Wait. We have a free creature to play. Always remember your 1-drops with Convoke. Almost did another misplay for the day, which I would have felt bad about, honestly. Because I feel like I did a lot of just little things. Like, they're not really bad. Just little things here and there for this deck that I could have done better. Dusk Legion Duelist, dude. The way they looked at that Baron, I was like, I thought for sure it was going to be more spot removal. More Vigilance. I wonder if they end up... Wow. They're going for the... Oh, they're actually going to keep that flashback for the turn. Probably to activate it on the Dusk Legion. Swinging at face. Flipping the Invasion. Dude, this Vigilance is rough, man. And it looks like they want to keep that for the Vigilance next turn then, instead of drawing with the Dusk Legion. But seeing that we have the Go for the Throat, Dusk Legion might not even be the target now that this Initiate has 3 counters on it. 4 counters, because Light Shield Array, which also they can sacrifice to give things hexproof and whatnot, and the Ayara. Oh no! Forever punished, guys. The Secluded Courtyard. I really should have... I should have stuck with the Fancy Pants theme. I should have played it out as Noble. Well, crap. Yeah. The Hexproof Indestructible. Sacrifice Light Shield Array. Creatures you control gain Hexproof and Indestructible until end of turn. I apologize, opponent. I am thinking, buddy. I think we end up, if we full swing, they have great blocks, and then nothing really trades, and Go for the Throat doesn't land anywhere. But if damage gets through, then we have the Socialite. I think we're like dead. I think we're super dead. Oh man, I can't believe we ended up, I mean, we have 3 Ayaras, so it's gonna happen eventually, but... be careful with the courtyards, guys. If you guys try this build out, be careful. I want to make sure that happens. They're going to take 5 here, potentially. They're actually going to trade with the Duelist. Huh. I'm just going to play the Socialite for the turn. Because, yeah, the, They did this right here because they think we're going to go for the Throat on the Initiate to save the Drinker, so that way they could activate the Light Shield Array. But we're not. We're just going to play the Socialite. The reason of the full swing was because I'm pretty positive it's the opponent's. Especially since we don't have too much here. And then this should get 2 counters because we dealt damage. Oh, no. That's not casting it from... That's the Incubator token. My brain said another Vampire, but no, Incubator. Alright, actually a couple 3/3s with Menace could go a long way if we can survive the turn, which we're going to have to force... We're going to be forced to block with the Socialite. Always stick to the theme, guys. I'll tell you what, man. Feels bad. With so many 3-drops that have Noble in it, I really should have known. And, you know, that's another reason why I tried my best to have Vampire and Noble, too. So that way the mana didn't hold us up ever. Guess we'll block the 7/8 here. Take 7 down to 4. Brutal stuff. Look at the opponent's deck, dude. Looks super scary. They're getting even more counters, too, because of the Light Shield Array. Which, Invasion of Gobakon is, like, super underplayed, man. We got the 4th mana! We got there, guys! It's not a black source, though, so we still can't play Ayara, but still. Actually, we can play a couple things on the same turn. Look at us go, guys. 2 things on the same turn, so we'll let them activate the Light Shield Array, right? But we still have blocks for next turn. We have a double block. Yeah, dude, that card is so underplayed. Oh my goodness. It made the appearance in our underplayed mono white. It's kind of ridiculous. So if we double block now, I guess it's better just to power up the incubator token, block the big guys, and let the Iron Apprentice. Oh, they can use the Hopeful Initiate. So we needed Socialite on the board to double block. I mean, it was the opponents regardless, guys, because even next turn we still wouldn't be able to play the Ayara. But doing that at the end of our turn. Oh, it's not the end of our turn. Oh, we're alive. I'm getting lost, dazed, and confused. Oh my goodness. Iron Apprentice. So we're going down to 1 this turn. I'm definitely curious to see what's on top here. Bro, brutal battles. I can't believe if Ayara was on the board, what would have changed? What actually would have changed, right? Without the go for the throat successfully landing. Well, guys, you know, I'll bring it up again. Always feel free to skip ahead. The next thing is the final thoughts. We got chapters at the bottom of the video. Good game. Give him the sunglasses. And we have timestamps down in the description as well. Wow, dude. I mean, sometimes you just get punished, huh? Oh, man. That's brutal. But realistically, had we been able to play the Ayara, would much have changed there? I guess maybe, because if we had successful things to sacrifice, let's go ahead and crack this pack, huh? Oh, we got 2 packs to crack? Look at us, super fancy. A scroll, sure. March of the Machine. I don't believe I have everything from March of the Machine yet. Find out here. Oh, another Realm Breaker. That's probably my 4th one. Okay, let's go over the deck. Yeah, the life gain from the Ayara might have come in handy, but we were in trouble regardless. We had, like, a lot of trouble today, just in general with draws and just, like, my plays. Like, I play a land and we're, like, immediately punished based on what I played out on that turn. Or I just misplay a land where I, like, that one turn I could have just played Abandoned Mire, but instead I kept it in hand as utility, which really just wasn't great at all. I should have just played this out, used the black source for the Ichor Drinker from the grave. And again, the game really knows how to punish, because immediately after I did that, the Ichor Drinker got exiled out of the grave from their graveyard trespasser. And then, yeah, we had that debate at the beginning where we had a bunch of vampires in our opening hand, and I was like, well, if we play Courtyard as Vampire, it's better now we take less damage for a couple turns, but if we see Ayara at any point, we won't be able to cast it out because it has double black in the casting cost, so maybe we should call Noble instead. I opted for Vampire, and we end up seeing 2 Ayaras and no other black sources, which I think it's a little unlucky to not see more black sources, because not only would Plaza of Heroes work for the Ayara, we have the Haunted Ridge, all 4 Blackcleave Cliffs, we have all 4 caves, we have the Abandoned Mire, and we have 2 swamps as well. So we're heavily leaning towards black. And at that point too, I guess, yeah, we could have seen another Secluded Courtyard off the top and then called Noble that time round as well. So, I mean, it's just, you know, it's one of those things. We as Magic players have to put up with mana bases sometimes, and I hate to complain about it that much, but sometimes it's pretty rough, huh? And some of those moments were 110% my fault too, so. The 25 land really didn't feel like enough, but it technically should be based on what we have here with 8 1-drops, 8 2-drops, and a bunch of 3s, and then the top end is realistically, we're just looking at the top end for when the game accidentally goes on too long, because you guys could see how aggressive it can actually be, even though this is a mid-range build. We're really trying, like right at the beginning of that mid-game, that's when we're really trying to win the game, so. We didn't get to see Edgar actually come into play. If we did, a few of those games might have been a little different, but again, even if we saw this off the top in a few of those games, we just weren't seeing enough mana. So if we go up to like 26 land, we're probably going to flood out a little bit too much. There's going to be moments where you do want to see the 4 for the Queen Kayla, which that heartbreaking game where we actually had the 3, the 2, and the 1, and we had the land. We were going to play that 4th and then activate Queen, but of course they had to find the spot removal because there's just way too much spot removal in Standard, man. So, and that particular piece of spot removal, even if we had like protection or something, they played the Liliana and then went sacrifice on the Queen. So, uh, that was probably the most heartbreaking moment of the video. I apologize. There was a lot of sad moments. The double punish on the Ayara in the last game, the Queen Kayla dying was so sad, man. Because how often do you actually have that? Like you have the fourth land and you actually have everything else for the combo to just be perfect, right? That would have been so cool. I bet that would have won us the game, actually. I do think this ability is powerful enough that if you can at least hit 2 creatures off of it, it could win you the game. Not that turn, but the turn after, probably, right? Especially since when you are hitting those extra vampires off the queen, then you're probably going to be able to buff soon enough. At that point, you have the 4 mana too, and we have all 4 Edgars as well. I like the deck, guys. I like the thematic Fancy Pants Nobles. It's it was definitely fun putting this together. Did get to see Squee today. I would drop down to 2 Ayara for sure and go up the 3rd Markov Baron. The Ayara is double black. That was also very soul crushing. So going down to 2, I still think it's going to be an excellent addition in the build. And actually, if I remember, when I put this up on Aether Hub, I'll actually drop this down to 2 and go up the 3rd Markov Baron. And whenever I do that, down in the description, it'll say like adjusted for consistency or whatever I end up putting, modified for consistency, I think is what I usually type out. That way you guys know the deck list is a little bit different than what we actually played in the video. Other than that, that's the main thing I would change. In that last game, it was really funny. The only honorable mention was a Fateful Absence. Right? Yes, Fateful Absence. For some reason, I couldn't remember the name of that card. But yeah, the Fateful Absence would have been way better in that last game because we would have been able to take out the Clay Champion, and I bet we'd still be in that match. I bet we'd actually have like a small chance. As for like card draw, we fizzled out a few times. We have ways to filter with the Epicure and the Harvester, and if we're filtering with Baron, then we have the Madness to cast that back. If we're filtering with Drinker, we can bring the Incubator out as well. I'm not 100% certain that we need card draw. Florian is actually the best case for the card draw, so maybe we could actually squeeze a 3rd one of these in as well, and we could stop being ridiculous with the Noble theme and drop the Squee, go up the 3rd Florian then, right? But no, I do like the theme. You're taking part of the soul out of the deck, but I could totally see it. So one more recap, guys, just real quick, because I said a lot of different things. I would drop an Ayara down to 2, and I'd go up a 3rd Markov Baron, and I would drop that Squee, go up the 3rd Florian, and I think you'd be pretty satisfied, yeah. And make sure you're using the Florian correct too, because I did not, and it was definitely my fault that one game where we could have potentially found another land off the Florian. I ended up changing my mind. I thought we were going to play Socialite for a counter, and then I changed my mind and played Florian after combat, so we didn't get that ability, which was pretty bad. But yeah, even so. Did we end up winning that game? I forget. I don't remember right now. All right, guys. Oh, another thing. We were seeing like the splash of white was a little bit too much, so I could see dropping like a Battlefield Forge or 2 and going up 1 or 2 Haunted Ridge in return. I mean, honestly, even another like Voldaren Estate could be good, since we do have so many vampires and now we're going up a Baron and we're going up a Florian. Okay, another recap. All right, we're dropping an Ayara, going up a Baron. We're dropping a Squee, going up a Florian. That means we have 2 more vampires and 2 less nobles in the build. I would drop like 2 Battlefield Forge, go up a 2nd Estate, and go up a 2nd Haunted Ridge as well. Because the splash of white in here just seemed a little bit too extensive. Now I would still keep the Seat of the Empire, since we're still splashing white. Maybe not. Maybe we drop the seat then too. At that point, you would just probably go up another swamp or another mountain or another haunted ridge just to make sure we're seeing the mana that we need to see, right? So, all right, guys. Hey, if you made it this far into the video, for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.